What's going on, everybody? Lawrence Henderson here with another Hot Takes podcast episode where we're always seeking to lead with humility, openness, and transparency. Y'all, round two. I know you all may have heard it, but what does it truly mean to be emotionally intelligent? Yeah, I said it. What does it truly mean to be emotionally intelligent? Y'all, my first time interacting with this, somebody was giving me feedback about how I was interacting at church with other people. Y'all, I was one of those ushers. Air traffic control ushers that I was come here, sit there. That was me, y'all. And then one day I decided to get an attitude at church. Did I say at church? With someone because they wouldn't scoot to the center. Yeah, y'all heard me. They wouldn't scoot to the center of the pew. And so I gave them my infamous disapproval nose flare. The one I used to get from my dad when I wasn't doing the right thing when I was growing up. Y'all, at the time, didn't feel it, didn't see it, didn't know it. Until later. Just so happened this day, my wife had to do something after church. We rode together. But then somebody, a good buddy of mine, was riding. He was like, I'll take him home. And during that conversation, he introduced me to a word, empathy. At first, I didn't know how to spell the word empathy. Didn't know what it meant. But we began to have a conversation about interpersonal skills. Not about my leadership. He was like, you're an amazing leader. But that will get lost in the way you engage and interact with others. Y'all, in my research, emotional intelligence, particularly in leadership, and why it matters came up as some of the biggest key points in how to bridge the gap in leadership development. And it's the exploration of what it means in each of its buckets. So what are the buckets? So first bucket is all around self-awareness. Then you transition into self-management or self-regulation. But then after that, it's that social awareness. But today, Daniel Goleman, who some call the father of emotional intelligence, calls the bucket of empathy. And then the transition into relational management. You see, y'all, when it comes to emotional intelligence, it's your ability to actually understand where you are on the side of emotion. Even in anger, even in frustration, you should be conscious about what those emotions actually mean so that you can actually be conscious about the actions you need to take. So often in our world, people behave badly as a result of them taking action on the message of their emotions. People behave badly off of the message of their emotions. And what we are saying now in leadership development is teaching leaders how to hone in on what are the drivers that are impacting my behaviors that are causing me to engage in a way that is turning people on to working more or turning people off from working more. And as you think about this, engaging not just positively, but optimally. It's having the ability to engage even in positive discourse as an organization. Your ability to actually say, I'm angry, but not behaving in a way where you become disrespectful to others. And so emotional intelligence is about influencing the actual positive morale of those you're intending to do the work. So imagine you're sitting in a workplace. You catch me, Mr. Usher Man. All you trying to do is do your job. You trying to sit and do the right thing. And next thing you know, here I come, Tasmanian devil, hell on wheels. How is that going to impact how you engage your work? When you're now having to navigate my behavior and the work you have to do. Whether you want to believe it or not, guess what? You're not going to interact well. Even the best of us have a bad day. And so the idea is, can I emotionally regulate long enough to actually have an interaction that serves me, that leads me toward success? And so how do you practice it? Great question. You practice it through that crazy word of understanding empathy. And empathy says, I'm not getting in your shoes. I'm just armed and ready to ask you a curious question about how something is impacting you, thus impacting how you engage work. See, if I don't take the time to actually sit, create a space, open hands, open heart, open ears, to actually hear what's going on with you, I'll miss the opportunity to actually be a resource for you. And again, not me personally, but me going to locate a person, me going to find someone to actually give you access to what you need to be successful, even though you may be having a hard time. Y'all, one of the greatest things most organizations have, employee assistance programs. Most employee assistance programs now not only have access to therapy, but they have access to emotional wellness coaching. And so when I'm feeling bad and you as your supervisor, you can't hold space for me. You don't have that skill set yet. What do I have access to as an employee for someone to hold space for me to communicate what's going on, truly going on? Next, practicing self-awareness in different ways. Right? Most of us kind of know the things that are known. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Johari window, right? The things that are known to me and known to others. But what are your actual blind spots? What's the feedback you've gotten about how you engage? And are you listening to how it's impacting others? That level of self-awareness, and then seeking help, whether it's through professional development, whether it's through a personal coach, whatever it is, you now leaning in to say, you know what, I'm going to be better not only for myself, but for others. And the other part of this is leaning into relationship management. I'm not saying everybody needs to be your best friend at work. It's not even remotely what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your ability to actually manage the relationships that are crucial to your success. I'm talking about managing the relationships that actually have an impact on you being able to move to your next level. That's what this is about. It's not about best friends at work. It's about, can I actually have respectful, cordial, productive relationships? And if I'm not, what's in the way? Now, developing emotional intelligence and leadership is a contact sport. It's a community effort. This is not you in isolation talking about, I need to be better. What I found in the research is people do not have access to the types of training ground that actually help them sharpen their saw when it comes to these reps. Why? Because everybody's engaging from their emotions, which tells us the training that you're doing does not meet you where you are. It is about having a multi-tiered, multi-layer approach to engaging these elements of emotional intelligence, and then having the wherewithal to say, if we don't have the internal skill set, where do we go? We would love to be that partner. But guess what? We also know from a training and development standpoint, creating a relationship with that learning partner is crucial as well. And understanding that if Lawrence shows up as CEO of Boss, we have access to a plethora of coaches and trainers. Because I don't want the Charlie Brown effect to happen. Y'all know the Charlie Brown effect. You hear too much of my voice and I start sounding like wah, 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 wah. Nah, I bring trainers and coaches with me so we could diversify the delivery so that you can be met in an environment that matters to you. Lastly, I want to encourage you leaders. I want to encourage you leaders to put the posters into practice. It's one thing to pontificate about this, but it's another thing to actually earn your stripes, get your reps. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint, y'all. Leaning into this stuff is literally an everyday, every moment type of situations that you have to sign you up for. No one else can sign you up for this journey. To build emotional intelligence and leadership is you taking accountability, taking ownership to be better. Y'all, there's so much more to this conversation. This is just an intro conversation to what this is. And again, thank y'all so much for hanging out with us. If you or your team are looking for a partner in success and want to really dig into emotional intelligence as a practice for your organization, reach out to us. We would love to have a conversation to see how we could support you. Y'all, it's been another Hot Takes podcast episode where, again, we're always seeking to lead with humility, openness, and transparency. Until next time, be well, lead well.